Continuing on the MU line by Akko, this is the MU02, the bigger brother to its wooden 65% cousin, now offered in a bigger form factor. But in a world full of 75% keyboards, does this stand a chance? Let's find out. The usual disclaimers out of the way, Akko provided me with this unit, but I have full say on my thoughts on the board. They are seeing this video the same time as you do. Opening up the box, we are first greeted with the board itself, still wrapped in its plastic cover and foam. Setting that aside, we get the accessories, of which you have the manual, wood wax for maintaining the board, the USB Type-C cable, the 2.4 GHz dongle, the switch puller, some extra switches and keycap puller, and finally, the microfiber cleaning cloth. Moving on over the board itself, I got mine in the Akko Rosewood variant and with a different keycap design as my MU01. The MU02 is a continuation in Akko's new lineup of similarly designed boards with different case materials, this being the first in the O2 lineup. The MU01 is a 65% tri-mode wooden keyboard, while this one offers almost the same specs with the beefier exploded 75% design. At the front, you've got a derivative of the top bar brass design from the 65 to a full front plate of brass for the 75. It looks quite striking and reflective. It also looks premium in my opinion. This design is incorporated in the exploded 75% layout with the knob on the top right that is set by default for volume and LED brightness controls. To the whole perimeter of the case, we see a dark wood finish that extends to the front and back of the board. It's smooth to the touch and the edges are rounded off on each side. This is accented by the recessed USB Type-C port, also in brass at the rear. At the back, we see the MU02 branding, as well as the long rubber feet on the upper part that hides the screws to get inside. It's adhesive, so I don't advise opening this up a myriad of times. But hey, it hides the screws well and leaves the back distraction free. You wouldn't be disassembling this much as the board is pre-built right out of the box. Speaking of which, this is the Akko Rosewood variant with MOA keycaps in the Autumn theme. But you can also get this with the Mountain Seclusion variant and ones with Piano Pros just like the OG MU01. Weighing in at 1.17 kilograms, it's not a heavy board by aluminum standards, but you'll feel the heft if your current board is plastic. It didn't exhibit any decay or splitting on the wood, and to reiterate, it's smooth to the touch on all sides. This is all aided by the top brass piece, which reinforces the shape of the wood. Moving on over the PCB, it's tri-mode with 3 to 5 pin hot swap support in the south-facing configuration. It has RGB and a daughter board for less strain and is powered by a 4000 mAh battery inside. It's not BIA compatible, but it's compatible with Akko's own software for remapping the keys and accessing other functions. From testing, I didn't encounter any problems with the wireless connection from the Bluetooth or 2.4 GHz. But I don't particularly like the placement of the switch being underneath the caps lock key. It's a hassle bringing the keycap puller just for the function to work. Another nitpick I have is that it still lacks multi-layout support for Sangan or step caps lock, and I'll still keep complaining about that till Akko adds it, but otherwise, it's a well-suited and feature-rich PCB. Moving on over the mounting and plate, this is thankfully gasket mounted with silicone jackets on the gasket tabs found on the plate, of which you have FR4 as the plate material. And from the tests I've done, it produces quite a deep and muted sound, which is likely due to the combination of the rosewoods, the keycaps, and not to mention the heaps of foams chucked inside the case. Overall typing experience was great, but it only exhibited the tiniest bit of bounce. As I mentioned earlier, the switches on this are the Akko Rosewoods, which are a nylon pro stem, PA12 top, and PA6 bottom switch that produces a low-pitch sound when built with boards. I think this is a perfect combo for this, as you'll hear later. Lastly, before the sound test are the keycaps, which are in the MOA profile and in the Autumn theme, primarily dominated with dark browns on the mods and black on the alphas. And it feels like gripping your fingers when typing. It's fairly thick as well, utilizing PBT for the material and dye-sub for printing. Finally is the sound test. This is all stock with all the foams, no mods done, stock stabs, and the Akko Rosewoods. We'll also compare it to other boards in my collection to show you how really deep this board is. Have a listen. It didn't disappoint in the sound department. It really hit the deep sounding mark on this one, and out of the box, the stabs didn't exhibit any ticking or any rattle. To sum it up, for about 139 USD, there's a lot of 75% out in the market that packs the same specs as this, not to mention with pre-built options as well. What separates this is its case material. If you're really into that wood, and you're trying to match up your PC case, or even your setup, then this is a no-brainer. The brass top can be polarizing to some, but I find it nice looking and quite unique. Ultimately, it's still up to you to decide. I'm just glad that the market is flooded with hundreds of choices for a budget-exploded 75% keyboard, and the Akko MU02 is no exception. The board comes highly recommended to some. What about you? Would you rather have a wooden keyboard or a CNC alu board for the same price? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm John J. Biraba, and I'll see you in the next video.